After a very exciting race 1, we're almost ready for race 2 of the Marangoni production BMW and Project 8 racing saloon cars. So you went from 4th, you looked like you were going to be heading up for 2nd place, but then an unfortunate spin on lap 3, I believe.
Yeah, we managed to get with Mike up into 2nd place after two of the guys came together, but again, unfortunately, I was at the wrong place at the wrong time when one of those came back on and caused a spin and dropped me back down to 6th.
And does that add pressure to you now for race 2?
Makes the second race a little bit difficult, starting a bit further down. In an ideal world, I'd like to be up with the lead guys from the first race, because then stand a better chance of getting on the podium.
It's race 2 for the Marangoni production BMW and Project 8 racing saloons. We're ready to go. We've got Mike Dugdale back up for his 2nd pole today. Sadler is in 2nd, and a very fantastic finish for Pearson sees him in 3rd. A really exciting battle as well between the production BMWs sees Mike Tovey in pole, James McIntyre in 2nd, Ben Winrow in 3rd. Race 2, let's go.
Grid for race 2 set with the finishing positions of race 1, with the exception all the way at the back, Rob Manger, the reserve, who's squeezed into this overcapacity grid with a couple of casualties from race 1. It's going to be very exciting once more, and away we go. And again, a good start from Robert Sadler from the inside of the front row. He's 2nd on the grid though. But what can Dugdale do from pole in the 51 machine, turning into Cox for the first time? Here's Sadler, who has just got the advantage from this gigantic pack. It's Mike Tovey, who's jumped into the early lead as well in the production BMW battle. He's just alongside Andrew Zhang as they accelerate on towards Maggots the first time, side by side for the lead, and Dugdale pressurising Sadler, but Sadler just about able to hold on though in the lead of the race, although Dugdale all over his tail. It's Roger Kneebone up into 3rd, and then Stephen Pearson in 4th position. The rest of them all jinking through. Again, very, very clean. Everybody just about finding racing room, although it's 3 abreast, a little bit lower down the field, which is exactly what we've come to know, love and expect from the Marangoni Tyres Production BMW Championship, with Brian Jones, not the commentator Brian Jones, but the Norwich Brian Jones, leading a pack of cars onto the Hangar Straight. Harry Goodman has some adventures in race 1. This time, it's had a brilliant start to race 2. He's right on the tail of Liam Crilly with Stuart Waite. He's going to go and try and go between Liam Crilly and Stuart Waite into Stowe Corner. Can he do it? Stuart Waite outbrakes himself, runs wide, and so the place gained for Harry Goodman in hot pursuit of Crilly. Mike Dugdale, however, has found his way into lead the race, so Dugdale, winner of race 1, already at the head of the field during the first lap of race 2. He's now going to try and make good his escape as Carl Catliffe and Nigel Innes jockey for position just towards one of the top 10. Harry Goodman well up in the production BMW battle with the very quick Liam Crilly ahead of him. Crilly, who's always gone well here on the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, a good man to pull around and try and get into the slipstream behind. They accelerate past the new pits complex as the head of the pack exit farm and break into Village. Pearson pressurising Roger Kneebone for 3rd. Mike Dugdale in lead, runs a little bit wider. Robert Sadler around the outside into loop. Super move. Can he get the door closed in time? No, he can't quite. And so Mike Dugdale reclaims the advantage. Super there from Dugdale, but it brings Kneebone and Pearson into the mix. Accelerating down the Wellington Straight, then breaking into Brooklands, and Pearson looks to the inside of Roger Kneebone. He goes through the bright orange car, then up into 3rd position. Quite opposite, he's got number 3 on the side of the car. Then Roger Kneebone, multiple podium finish here in the Project 8 Racing Saloons, slips down into 4th position. And watch for Carl Catliffe in 5th, because he wasn't too far adrift from Kneebone as they exited Brooklands. Yes, there's Catliffe in 5th, so leading 5 cars, breaking well clear ahead of the field, with still Mike Dugdale leading Sadler, although Sadler giving him much closer run for his money 2nd time around. And then we've got Pearson in 3rd, Kneebone in 4th, and then Catliffe tail of the train, but able to hold a watching brief as these leaders battle for overall race honours through Beckett's once more. Super shot there, right through the car of Mike Dugdale. You can see him working the wheel, but more importantly, just how smooth he is turning through the Beckett's complex. Just a single turn of the wheel for each element of the complex, and that's why he's in the lead of the race, because he's not using up his tyres unduly, and he's not scrubbing off any speed on the exit of the corners. Production BMW battle, frantic as ever. Tovey Winrow breaking clear ahead of the pack, and then we've got Matthew Parks James McIntyre and the rest, as you'd always expect. Here's Stephen Carter, midfield runner, and somewhat unusually a little bit alone because he's got a bit of an advantage there over George Seeley and Leonard Oliver. It's Seeley ahead of this queue in the 21 machine. Leonard Oliver next up in number 30. Oliver, one of the clan in this race because his father-in-law Nigel Olive-Jones is racing and his wife Nigel Olive-Jones' daughter Robin is also racing, so a family affair for the Olivers and Olive-Joneses as Christopher West in the blue 80 car. Down the hanger straight into the pit lane is Greg Graham. Gravel trap Greg Graham, it says on the side of the car. It wasn't a trip through the gravel. It's been out of that race, I think mechanical failure possibly to blame. Back to the head of the production BMW fight, and it's Tovey who's just got the advantage from Ben Winrow, but Winrow gets a good run through club here, accelerating out past the new pits. He squeezes Tovey wide. Robust driver for the pair of them because Tovey gives as good as he gets, but it's Winrow who's got the inside line up towards Abbey, and Ben Winrow should take the lead of the race here. Tovey to the outside line. Do we see Ben Winrow appear to the inside? Yes, we do. Ben Winrow squeezing through past Mike Tovey. Now what can Tovey do about fighting back? Of course, Tovey one win already to his credit this weekend. It's Christopher West and George Seeley, rub door handles, exiting through club. This is robust from the pair of them, and Seeley squeezes, he makes contact with West, and Seeley spears off, bang, into the tyre barriers. A huge accident there for George Seeley. Should walk away from that though. These cars very, very strong, with Mike Dugdale still coming pressure from Robert Sadler. They're just coming up to the tail of one of the back markers, and this is not the ideal place to catch them because the Beckett's complex that swoops the circuit, turning every which way, and Pearson tags the car and around he goes. So Stephen Pearson in third position, just tagging the slower car and being tipped into the spin. Disaster for him, unfortunately, there. He does rejoin, but has he damaged the car? That's the question. So podium finisher in race 1, rotating in race 2. So let's unpick this a little bit more. It's Kevin Hodgin in the number 19 car they come onto the tail of. So through goes Dugdale, as does Robert Sadler. That's through the left-hander. The circuit then twists to the right as arriving on the scene is Stephen Pearson. He draws alongside Kevin, he moves across him, slightest of taps. Unfortunately, such is the speed, around he goes. He's able to gather up fairly easily, but into the pit lane he comes. So great shame there for Stephen Pearson. Peeling into the pit lane and unfortunately out of the race. So onto that tap, doing something to the internals of BMW that we couldn't see. It's possibly a puncture, in fact, there to the rear right tyre. Great battle amongst the big Jags. It's Chris Boone and Rodney Frost. These cars pretty much have their own centre of gravity, but they always produce some great racing. It's Boone just ahead of Frost, and it's Winrow who remains in the lead of the Marangoni Tyres Production BMW Championship in association with Quick Fit Squabble, and he's pulling away here from Mike Tovey as into Brooklands for the final time in the Project 8 Racing Saloons cars comes Mike Dugdale. It's been a super drive from Mike to cap what really has been an absolutely fantastic weekend, because he's done the business. He got pole position, he won race 1, pole position for race 2, and he's well set to win that. To put the icing on the cake, he also is going to set the fastest lap of the race as well. So it's the double win here at Silverstone for Mike Dugdale, with second place to Robert Sadler and third place to Carl Catliff. What about the production BMWs? Will Ben Winrow have made amends for race 1 as Dugdale receives the acclaim of the crowd? Yes, here comes Ben Winrow. He takes the win from Mike Tovey in second place, a very distant second for Mike Tovey, with Matthew Parks claiming third position. Well, what fantastic racing we've had for the capacity grid here at Silverstone, and the drivers celebrating on the podium. Yeah, Carl Catliff off the mark with the bubbly, soaking Robert Sadler and Mike Dugdale. The drivers thoroughly enjoyed their racing. So the national anthem plays in honour of our podium finishers in the Marangoni Tyres Production BMW Championship, and it is the win to Ben Winrow.
Yeah, it's good. It goes a little way to making up for earlier anyway, so it's just one of those things. All we can do is go out there and drive the best we can, and that's what we always try and aim to come here and do. Yeah, it was really just a case of biding my time, picking my moment. Mike got a little bit scrappy, maybe 10 minutes in, so it felt like that was the right time.
2 meetings in to an excellent season from the production BMWs, and it is Ben Winrow with the slenderest of advantages from Mike Tovey, with Liam Crilly, Matthew Parks, Stuart Waite and Alan Warman all featuring well up in the championship. There is everything to play for.
Well, that's it from us here at Silverstone. Join us again in a few weeks' time for the next races in the Marangoni Production BMW Championships and Project 8 Racing Saloons.